All right, we are going to be threading our machine. So we put our thread, start with the top thread. We're going to put it on our spool pin. We're going to take the end of it and we're going to wrap it around this hook that is in the back of the machine. Your thread's going to lay on top of the handle, and when you hook it, you should be able to kind of floss it so it's kind of secure in there. Everything that when we're threading the machine is meant to kind of be wrapped around. You don't have to actually thread anything. We're going to follow the arrows that are on the machine. We're going to go down into this little ditch right here, and our thread's going to come all the way down, and it's just going to stay to the left of this thread guard that's right here. Once we get to the bottom, it does tell us that we need to do a U-turn and come back up to the top. Now, this is a really important part of threading the machine. You need to have a thread take-up lever here. A lot of times people will say, well, my machine doesn't have one. If yours doesn't, turn your hand wheel and it will magically appear. Now you need to make sure that your thread is properly threaded in your thread take-up lever, and it should be at the top of this area. So on the machine it tells us that we're going to do a U-turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my thread is to the right of my thread take-up lever, and I'm going to do this very exaggerated so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to come all the way back to the top up here. I'm going to do a U-turn, and what will happen is the thread will catch on the inside of that thread take-up lever. You don't actually have to try and thread that. That would take forever and be very frustrating. All right, so once we have it through the thread take-up lever, we're going to bring it back down, and we're going to go behind this metal thread guard. And what this has the job of doing is taking some of the tension off of the needle, and we're just going to try and get that thread a little bit more directly above. So this one goes around to the left of this kind of metal thread guard. Right, thank you. There's another one at the top of your needle, about the thickness of your needle. You're going to come around from the left side of that one. So far all we've had to do is just wrap our thread around different parts of the machine. The only part that you actually have to put thread through something is your needle. You're going to want your thread to come straight down from the top of the needle down to the bottom. You want your thread to go towards the back of the machine. So thread should come straight down through your needle towards the back of your machine. Your final step for the top thread is to put your thread through the side of your, what's this called? Presser foot, thank you. Of your presser foot. So that your thread is underneath your presser foot and it goes towards the back of your machine. Now if you have difficulty threading your needle, sometimes if you just cut the ends of your thread, it gives it a nice sharp blunt edge and you can push it through a little bit easier. If you have a big long tail of thread from threading it and you don't want that much, thread is cheap, it's okay to cut it. Over here on the side of the machine, there is a blade. We're just gonna run it over the top, pull down, and it cuts it off. The extra thread that's then hanging out is the perfect amount for when you start sewing on fabric.